remember me. I remember you too. You stole my heart, so I'm gonna steal you for the first time in weeks. I feel good for the first time in weeks.
Hello and welcome to Show House, your favorite property show that talks to you as a buyer or seller. I'm your host, Kura Chiota, and together we're going to travel the country looking at some of the up-and-coming areas that could be your very next home. We chat to the experts and get some guidance on where to buy, when to sell, and how to make the best decisions when it comes to your investment. Joining us in studio today is Yashina Maharaj from SA Home Loans, who will give you the ins and outs of financing your dream property. My resident experts, Mr. Aidan Bennett of Aidan Bennett's Interiors, will give you his knowledge on how to get things done. Mark Banks will be Mark Banks being Mark Banks, and he'll share with you the advice that he has on property matters. On today's show, we head up to the hills of KwaZulu-Natal. We've read the mails that you've sent in and answered some of those burning questions that keep you awake at night. Then we take a look at our little bit of inspiration and our property of the week. Also remember to follow Home Channel SA on Twitter as well as Facebook and use the hashtag ShowHouse if you want to join in our conversations. Yashina, the upper highway area in Durban, Hillcrest, Kloof and going further up, how do you feel about that area?
It's a stunning part of KZN, Kura. It's beautiful hills and valleys. You've got, like you've mentioned, Kloof, Hillcrest. There's another area called Waterfall.
Gillets is up there.
In the valley itself, you've got Gillets, which is the stunning part of that area. It's nestled so beautifully with rivers and stony areas. I'm not sure if you're familiar, but a few years ago, they used to do flower farming in Gillets. So a very pretty part.
There's still the big farmers market out there.
Yes, yeah.
Does the upper highway area, it's a high income area, yes. And it's like escaping the heat and mess of the coastal Durban and then going up into a Lani retreat in the hills. Would you say that's an accurate depiction?
Yes, it is. I think one of the earlier programs we were talking about, Durban has gone north, Mshali and Belito and up there, but a lot went inland to an untouched area, which was Kloof, which was like, it was a sort of a principality of its own, really.
And it's beautiful, yeah.
It is beautiful, but there's a very, very old there, old homes, old grounds, old people in Kloof. The average age lived to 135. In fact, Prince Valiant, I think, still lives in
because
Kloof.
of the coastal air, the more calm.
Yes, and the escarpment, the slight gradient going up and down keeps them moving.
They are our experts. Let's take their word for it, but let's show you what we saw when we took our cameras up to the upper highway area.
Hillcrest has grown a lot in the past 9 years. We've got a new road going into Ananda Road that's going to eventually link up to Gateway. So it will take you like 20 minutes from Hillcrest to Gateway. So the whole waterfall area is developing. It caters for a lot of people. Like there's low domain for the over 50s. There's this estate with children and families. Cotswold Downs across the road, the golfing estate is going well. A lot of homes are being built there now. So yeah, it caters for a lot of people. And I also think this is more a calmer, more country type life.
Westville and Curry's Hill are situated at approximately 15 kilometers from the coastline. So it offers great proximity to the beaches, but without the quite hectic humidity. And the good value that is perceived in Westville and Curry's Hill, where you get really good sized family homes for good value.
It's beautiful. I mean, the greenery, the birds, the school proximity, size of the properties. It's just beautiful. It is a gem.
Life on an equestrian estate is great because I horse ride. It's convenient for me because work is really busy, so I don't have time to travel really far. And with the roadworks at the moment, it's quite a nightmare. So I get home and it takes me 2 seconds to get to the stables and ride.
I think the gem about Hillcrest is definitely the weather. You don't have that heat and that humidity. The mist is beautiful. The winters are stunning. The temperatures are always bearable. And you up the road from the Midlands, which is so pretty, weekends you can do that. So I think that's basically the nice part of living in the Upper Highway area.
Most magical part living in Hillcrest would definitely be the trees. I'm a tree hugger, and coming home to this avenue of trees every day just really does put a smile on my face. But we're lucky being in Kirklington that these trees will stay here forever. So my favourite part about living in Durban would be living in Hillcrest.
Well, living on an equestrian estate, my daughter rides. I recently started riding. My son's into racehorses. So for us, it was a no-brainer to move here. We've got stunning stables, beautiful horses. Everybody in the yard competes, just about. There are other equestrian estates in Natal that I know of, but none of them as nice as Kirklington.
We have quite a diverse range of property in these suburbs, ranging from these sort of older freestanding homes, and then we've also got the more modern upmarket home that has been renovated, and then also the properties in gated estates, which there's a big demand for. But mostly we're looking at older homes that have been renovated. Our average selling price in Westville and KZN is around the 1.5 mark. However, we do have homes right across the board, right, going upwards to 13, 14 million, as in this particular case. This is a magnificent home. It was remodeled about 12 years ago, and it has extensive rolling lawns, manicured gardens. It's got beautiful views, in fact, from every room in the home. But I think the big feature here is its magnificent vistas, and the asking price here is 13 million.
People from Joburg come all the way here to see the Midlands and the Valley of a Thousand Hills and to be near the beach and the sea. But for us, we live and work like everybody else. We have beautiful surroundings.
Yashina, I can't get away from the village kind of a feel. You know, you got the smaller retailers who do those bespoke things. You live, work and play in that area. You don't need to come down, you don't need to condescend down the mountain. You can live up in that area quite comfortably.
Yes, definitely. And like I said, it's a sought after area because you've got the benefit of having almost a country sort of lifestyle along with the benefits of everything else. And I think most of us want that balance, but obviously you can't get it in a built-up area.
Mark, your pockets are bulging.
Yes, just all my commissions and all the properties I've sold, and also a better climate as you go out of, as you go up the escarpment, you go out. It's about another 1,000-1,500 meters higher than sea level, so you actually have a different climate to what you do the north coast. That humidity, that January, February horror humidity, which a lot of people love.
Yes, but if you want something fresher,
it's a better area.
Definitely.
And I think a better class of gecko on the house you find.
Always worried about
area.
the gecko, eh?
Yeah, they terrify me to this day. But a better class of gecko. They're not as frenetic as they are on the north coast. I don't know if you found that, Sheila.
I haven't quite checked, Mark.
It's time to take a quick ad break, but when we come back, we head out to Caversham, a small holding in the Midlands, to help a family make life-changing decisions. Don't go anywhere, we're going to be right back after this.
Looking for a new home in Malmesbury, Durban North, Linden, Parys, Ballito? We are the home loan specialists in every area.
Welcome back to Show House. We received so many emails from you asking advice on what you should be getting up to and all sorts of things in property. Jono wrote to us asking for the following advice. He says, "Dear team, I have this sensational country-style small holding in Caversham, situated in the Midlands in KwaZulu-Natal. The property is on a gorgeous 74-hectare piece of land with a unique north-facing home. The house has 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, a lounge, dining room, kitchen and veranda. The property has a borehole and 38 hectares of mature gum pastures and superb views across the Midlands. My family and I need a change, and I want to know where in South Africa we can find a similar lifestyle at a similar price." Now that's a great question, you know, because when you've got what you're used to, right? And family circumstances can change, employment or access to some opportunity, and you want to move, you don't really want to give up what you have. But this kind of, he's got no shortage of land, 74 hectares. Where else can you find that kind of real estate to look at?
You know, Kura, there's quite a few places I suppose we could go down. I mean, Cape Town would be one of them. There are lots of agricultural holdings and plots situated in Gauteng as well. It would depend on exactly what lifestyle the reader is looking for to move to. But at the same token, if he's going to leave KZN to relocate to another province, it would also impact what he plans to do in terms of employment and career and that sort of thing.
Sure. Now, Mark, I'm sure you have use for 38 hectares of blue gum trees for pasture.
No, not today. Not today. I don't. But one area that's overlooked, which is starting to take off now, is, and I speak from experience, is the Karoo. The good old Cape, the good old sprawl. I mean, Prince Albert and Tolbach, the Route 62, the stretch that runs parallel to the Garden Route. Huge properties, and very, very realistically priced.
When I hear blue gums, I worry. Aren't they incredibly thirsty plantations?
Yes, they're an invasive one. Aren't we supposed to rip them out and chop them up and send them back to Australia?
That was the plan.
Yeah, but I think they've stopped that, haven't they?
Yeah. As far as I know,
there's still a lot of gum trees in that area, eh? Hillcrest.
What does one do with a gum tree? If anyone knows, please phone the program now. Demand gum trees.
Well, gum, as an outdoor furniture, it's actually it's really, really useful because it's got its own natural oils. So I mean, using it for exterior furniture, it's a wonderful alternative to something like balau.
Oh, fantastic! There we are, viewers.
What areas would you suggest, Aidan, that the family could get a similar country feel in living?
I think the biggest point here for me is the climate of Durban. You're not going to find that anywhere else in the country. So if it's something they've got used to, particularly over the lifespan of their family, I assume they've already got children, they're really going to have to consider quite a major change. But I mean, I think I'd go with Mark. If you look in the Binnelandse, the Karoo, that's only real option where you're going to get similar value for money.
I'd like the Mpumalanga area around Nelspruit. You still got the hills, you still got the heat, you don't have the sea. But I know a lot of cross-border investment has come. A lot of wealthier Mozambicans are buying in that area, and they come and use Nelspruit as their home away from home base.
Nelspruit would also be very similar climate to Durban, the heat and that sort of thing. And it's also very citrusy, lots of fruits and trees and plantations as well.
Mark, you, me and Aidan club together, we buy it?
Yes, I think we could. I don't know what we'd do on it. I just need a tiny little cottage, just to sort of, tiny little workroom.
I'll have a shed and we can cut down the gum trees and start making furniture.
Yep.
Sounds like a calibration.
We call them ABI, Aidan Bennett and Terry trees.
Hey, where am I fitting
AB trees.
Hello, my idea. I'm not coming along as an empowerment partner. Hey, my idea.
Yeah, you are.
No
you
way.
are. Sorry, I know we're going to say you're not, but you are, and you know that. That's why you're there.
I'm going to need a price from you.
Yes.
It's time to play Price That Property. If you at home want to join in on the game, feel free to tweet us, Home Channel SA, and use the hashtag Price That Property. The way this works, you know and understand it. You've looked at the property, you've got a sense and feel. What number are you going to put to this magnificent property? Because that's the price that Banks, Bennett and Chiota Properties are going to pay for it. While our experts put together their valuations, we're going to take a commercial break and we're going to come back and see who is the expert on the transaction we're about to do. See you just now.
Looking for a new home in Jacobsbaai, Umhlanga, Maboneng, Middelburg, Vaal Triangle? We are the home loan specialists in every area.
Welcome back. It's time to see which of our experts came closest to the actual price that the property is selling for. Who shall I start with? Mr. Banks.
I don't know Natal Midlands that intimately, so that would include Caversham. 74 hectares, today only 5 million.
A perfect round number.
Yeah,
For
perfect.
74 hectares.
5 million, but we're negotiable. Negotiable with the blue gum trees.
All right, 5 million is my first bid from Mr. Mark Banks. Mr. Aidan Bennett.
Look, a complete shot in the dark. I really don't know the area that well, but I'm going to price a little bit less than Mr. Banks. Going in at 4.2.
74 hectares of ground.
Yeah, it's a large piece of land, but still.
Okay. Yes,
I'm
bring some
coming in
sanity to these men.
at the lowest. Okay, at the
3.6500.
And I clearly have no idea how much a 74 hectare gum tree land would sell for, because it's outside of our lending criteria.
All right. 800 between the two of you. Who should go up? Who should go down?
I'll go up. I'll go up because I just got a feeling that I may have underpriced it.
It sounds like you're a fan
At
of
5,
it.
I go 5.5.
5.5?
I'd go up.
Sure, if this show goes for another hour, I can get you up to 7 perhaps.
No, 5.5, that's it. I've got another house down in Waterfall I've got to take people to see, and Mary Holroyd's house just outside Hillcrest I've got to take people around to see, and I've got to pick the kids up at 2:30.
And you're having lunch at the Rob Roy.
I'm having lunch at the Rob Roy, and apparently they've turned the Royal into a hotel. I must go and see that, and down in Durban.
Nope, final offer. That's it. Take it or leave it.
Aidan Bennett, you've been listening in on my conversations. You've been reading my notes, because the price that is coming in is 4.1, 4.2.
Wow, well done.
Well, shot in the dark, I said.
I should not have changed mine.
As this is the last episode in the current season, I thought I'd treat you to my personal favorite inspirational property of the week. Take a look at this.
In the heart of the Elgin Valley in the Western Cape lies a small family winery with its roots firmly planted in the earth. It's a simply designed structure combining both modern and classic elements to blend in beautifully with the landscape.
The client specifically had two strong ideas. One idea was the concept of the Vlaamse Hoeve, which is quite similar to the Cape Werf, where buildings form spaces rather than being individual buildings. The other aspect is that they wanted a winery where if you came to visit it, it felt as though you're visiting someone's home.
They really wanted a very traditional design for the building, and that was really our challenge, to create a traditional building but really to interpret it in a very contemporary way.
The idea behind the design was also to showcase rather than detract from the setting. As a result, the majority of the buildings are understated and appear quite plain, forming a backdrop. The more modern annex with the tasting area and offices then stands out from the rest of the buildings as an architectural statement.
A wine cellar is made up of a whole number of big boxes. In its very nature, you've got large spaces. It's a factory. In this instance, quite a beautiful factory, I hope. Whereas our brief for the tasting areas and the offices was to do something which has a very different scale to it, a very different feel to it, homely, warm. And the challenge was to find an architecture where you have larger individual buildings in some way speaking to something which is a very different scale.
And therefore we sort of divorced it from the fermentation cellar, created a very light concrete roof link between the two buildings, and decided to put a lot more detail into this smaller space to create that intimacy and to draw people to this side of the building. We also positioned this building where the most beautiful views are, so that when you're in this space you really feel as if you are exposed to the entire view of the valley.
The interior furnishing of the tasting area is clean and modern, in keeping with the architecture of the space. This again enhances the impact of the views, which are presented in the large movable glass panels.
The layout of the living area is a reflection of a residential living space. Very open plan, modern open plan kitchen, dining room, lounge. We've tried to make as many of the walls glass as we could without losing that sense of intimacy.
I think why people love to come here is that it feels as if you're sitting in your living room with the beautiful soft furniture. And I know people come and they really don't want to leave. And I think it's because you feel at home, you feel that you can sort of stop and enjoy the view and the fantastic wines.
The use of materials in the design plays an important role in defining the different spaces. At the same time, a sense of continuity is created using a similar floor texture throughout the winery, both inside and out.
We, right from the outset, knew that we wanted to use natural stone and something that is of this area. We wanted to use a stone that is used in quite a natural way, and therefore the random pattern of stonework and the reason why we haven't gone for something more structured. And the Lutyens plaster, again, something that's rough and textured. And then moving inside to polished surfaces, the use of steel, and also the way that we've detailed the timber for it to be quite linear, clean, tidy. We wanted to use a material for the floor where we could move away from the patterned tiles or timber products. We wanted something that was very robust, but at the same time have life, depth and texture. And the polished concrete was a natural choice for that. It has a sense of a natural material, whilst at the same time you can get that very slick, refined finish. And we've taken that finish right into the courtyard, again using the natural colours of the landscape. And because it's a surface on which we need to be able to work with forklifts and delicate materials such as glass bottles, we've polished that surface as well, but to a rougher grind, but it again gives a very robust finish.
This is a design of buildings and spaces which is intimately linked to their interaction with the landscape, creating a functional yet beautiful environment in which to live and work.
The beauty about the design is that every element is really integral. The urban design of the place, the way in which we've placed the buildings in the landscape, created the courtyard, the choice of natural materials, all the way through to what the furnishings are, was all one integral design process. But I think what makes it so dynamic and exciting is that it wasn't all us. It was really input from the owners and then obviously from the people on the farm. So really a collaborative process.
Join us again next season where we tackle more of your property issues, bring you even more inspiration, and visit your town on Show House. From me and the team, take care of yourselves and each other. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.
Won't remember me